think we are live. Good morning. Hi, ladies.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning.
I just have to.
We are actually here in the same place today.
We are in the same place, and we are feeling a little rough this morning. Wouldn't be the first time.
I know my hair. I'm like, yeah, it's okay.
Yeah, we had a long night. We had a long night last night. But we are up.
I don't know why my hair won't stay down.
But we are up early for what should be an interesting matchup between the Washington Capitals and the New York Rangers. For anybody just joining us, welcome to Double Defense. We're on episode 23. I can't even believe it. We have almost made it through an entire hockey season. We are still learning how to do
I know,
that.
I'm learning.
For anybody just joining us, we are an all-female New York Rangers hockey podcast made up of two New York Rangers fans based in Southern California. That's me and Christine. Hello. And Sarah, who is a Pittsburgh Penguins fan, but we like her anyway. And she is in Canada. She keeps us up to date on everything that's going on outside of Rangers land. And I think we have a couple of things to cover. I know that there's a game coming up in 20 minutes. And, we are hoping to see a couple of friends kind of maybe join us for some comments as we get a little bit closer to the game. But I think we have to kick this off by talking about sort of I don't want to say abysmal performance by the Rangers since they clinched the playoffs.
Disappointing, I would say.
Yeah, just strange.
I'm not as harsh as everybody else.
We saw a couple of losses, including that loss against the Devils, which I didn't think was as bad as it could have been. I think that the Devils proved to be a very beatable team, but then we went on to lose against the Sabres, which also felt really disappointing. I know Gallant's been saying very actively that he is not happy with the performance of the last couple of weeks. So do you think it's like they clinched the playoffs and they're just not playing hard now, or they're trying not to get hurt?
Yeah, there's some conservative kind of like vibes going on there. I don't know what it is. It's consistent across when I'm chatting with other people too. It's something about this first period. So we don't know what it is where they're not connecting right away. They build up and they get it going in the second period and the third. Sometimes it's not enough. It wasn't enough on Friday. And so, they just got to wake up and come out blazing like everybody else does. That's why it's logical to me.
And Jeffrey from Mind Your Pucking Business just said they really need to hope that they can turn it around, turn it on in a few weeks. As you are right, they have been bad. It's been strange. They've been strangely bad, and I think this is what I don't know makes New York Rangers fans tougher, because I don't think it's something we're not used to. That some of the games that we watched against the Devils, and then especially the one against the Sabres, it was so quintessential Rangers. Like the bus doesn't turn up until halfway through the second. They're snoozing at the beginning. They've been lucky that they've been able to get some wins in the past, but
that the losses are just 1 point goals.
Yeah,
1 point games. And don't forget too, like on Friday, the Sabres had a rookie goalie. It was his first.
It was his first game.
He was amazing. It was. He did a great job. It was very cute. But at the same time, the shots that we've taken in the last two games are abysmal. So you just got to get out there. I think what I don't like seeing is when they're trying to get that setup. They're trying to get that spot with Mika and that setup play. When you're not winning and you have 8 shots or 9 shots, you got to just take the shots.
Yeah.
So that right there is what gets frustrating for me. So and if there's no ifs. We'll win today. It'll be fine.
Jeffrey's saying power play is not taking high quality shots, and then he's going on to say wrist shots from the point are useless. Yeah, they are completely useless. You know who I think is quite not good at that is Panarin. And you think with all of his stick handling, he still takes shots that are through 800 guys. Of course you're not. Oh
God, I know.
I feel like Panarin really needs to start working on that. I think one of the things I was listening to another podcast, and I can't remember if it was Mind Your Pucking Business or Locked On New York Rangers. But they were talking.
It's probably me.
They were talking about, being able to get more like some like dirty, scrappy goals. And the Rangers are not great. They haven't been great at it. You know who's been good at it recently is Kakko. I think Kakko's all of a sudden, he's kind of come to life. He had a great goal, and he's had some really good chances to set people up. So that's been interesting. But yeah,
can I ask you guys? Sorry, just as you talk about Kakko, maybe Kakko, I can't even say his name right. Kakko, maybe he's more, maybe he's a stronger playoff potential player, and he has that mindset to shift and understand, kind of what's at stake and what has to change. You guys have a young team that maybe isn't as experienced in that realm. Do you think there's a difference there?
I think the playoffs are completely different. I think it's like, I don't want to overstate this, but I really think that playoff hockey is almost like a completely different sport in general to regular season hockey. And I think anything can happen. And there's certain guys who are just going to perform better under that pressure, and that they need that. And if what Kakko's showing on the way to the playoffs is an indication of that, then I think it bodes well for him. I'm just worried about everybody else.
So wait, I want to address something. So, last week, Jeffrey, you asked a question of like, oh, who would we rather play? And I said, okay, let me answer that. I still want to play Carolina, so because I can't stand the Devils. And right now, like, what did I say before this last game? In our last, we did a live on Instagram where I'm like, against the Devils, we got to be watching, Dougie Hamilton and Jack Hughes, and who, they didn't score, but they assisted on both the goals that happened. I'm like, I don't know why they don't mark them. But here's my take. So I get a little strategy in here. So maybe they do hold back a little bit, but do we want to give away all our secrets and our powers when we're going to have to play these guys and we want to win? And so my take is maybe never that they want to lose, but now that they did lose and we're kind of a little bit out of that fight for first, let the Devils in Carolina duke it out. Right now, it's anybody's game, and we may be playing Carolina. If we play Carolina first, I think it's an easy first round. I think we take it in 5. And so, maybe that's just like, now we have it, like, I mean, there's still a chance it's anyone's game, but there's less of a, I think so. Let's just sit back, know that we're going to play one of these two teams. And, we got a couple of games left. Some of these teams don't matter, like today. And this is where I get a little nervous. We were watching the old Tom Wilson hit and fight last night, where the Capitals are dirty, like some of these teams are dirty. And these are games where I get nervous, where there's no loss for the Capitals, anything they're going to do. So we got to watch what we're doing today. We want the win. We want the points. We want to show people that, because we're this contender that's going to be playing in 2 weeks. So, where's that strategy right now? I know it's Gallant's going to just tear them up if they don't come out scoring. We got to see better see 10 shots in 10 minutes.
And also like the lack of physicality. Like we've talked a little bit about that too. Like the lack of like the hits. I think we want to see a little bit more of that, especially if they're losing momentum in the game and they need to change something. I think they've been a little bit just quiet on that. And we talked about that with the Pittsburgh games too. It's where's that physicality? And what's going to happen, when any of these teams goes and faces like a very physical West Coast team too? How is that going to bode for the playoffs? So just, interesting strategies all around. I want to see Gallant change a few things up. Maybe today we'll see something different. Not like, we also talked about not wanting these guys to get hurt either, because that's also, of paramount importance.
Yeah. We got all these teams coming up. So let's also talk about, because I was actually watching Pittsburgh. So, and I had to wear a Pittsburgh sign last night for a party.
My classic on. Yeah.
Let's go with that game against Boston. So you saw the highlights. I was watching the game. A lot of drama. The gods, they're the gods now. And then watching some of these, I have to listen to these announcers, which is killing me. There was seeming to be a lot of drama. Like, who was it last year? There's some other coach. It was a Tampa Bay coach that just kept calling for replays and trying to overturn offsides. He was successful, but it was kind of crazy. So what was your take on on that? Because that's going to be the matchup. Now I know right now the Penguins are out of it because they're
Yeah, we're
battling
not in it right now.
a huge
right now. It's
battle.
like 1 point between Pittsburgh and Florida.
Yeah,
it's gonna be interesting.
So what I mean, what's your take on how they would survive if they were to play?
Yeah, I don't even know. So yesterday, just for context, Christine was texting updates in our group chat, but I was not watching the game. I was busy between doing stuff in my house and having to go away for dinner. So I caught the highlights last night, and I was easily could see why the drama. That was your comment yesterday, because it seemed to be how the media, the announcers were framing it amongst the two teams. It was a fast game. Pasternak shined for Boston. It was unreal. Pittsburgh showed up, but they're just two different caliber teams this year. And I think traditionally there is a lot of head-to-head there, similar to what we see when the Rangers and the Penguins play. That Boston dynamic is there as well. And Boston's always such an aggressive team, which I love. I love that about them. But I just don't see the two calibers for this year. Boston by far has earned the attention that they're getting. They've set records. They deserve the spotlight that they're getting. And positioning it against Pittsburgh right now, for me, it just seems unrealistic. They're not the same. Pittsburgh's not going to get there, in my own opinion. And if they do, it'll be a sheer miracle. But I just don't see how you line it up that way. But I thought they kept up. But from a Pittsburgh perspective yesterday, I noticed that Jari was back, but his health remains questionable. Before we started recording here today, I mentioned that the Pittsburgh media is really pinning the playoff hopes on Jari, which I think is really unfair. As we have said time and time again on this podcast, goalies save games. They don't win them. The Pittsburgh defense is so hot and cold, and it's been that way probably since the Winter Classic. They're really choosing when they want to show up and shine. But I don't know. The playoff pictures isn't just on Jari, and I don't think that game was just on Jari either. I think Boston just is on fire.
Yeah, absolutely. And they're riding the momentum. But I think Pittsburgh's always been sort of like an NHL/media darling. So they're going to come up with a story to help spin that. What's the take on Crosby right now? Sure, that's fine.
Keep going. All right.
Anyway, this
knocked over the water. It's fine. Sorry, keep going.
We did all agree to do this on a Sunday morning.
I know.
When my alarm went off this morning, I was like, that sounded like a great idea at the time. maybe we'll stick to the afternoon ones going.
I have a dog. Well, he's not here now. The dog, I'm phantom petting this dog that's here. I know.
Sorry, Liz. Sorry, Liz. I knocked over my water as you were asking your question. I missed it.
Do you need a minute to clean that up?
I'm good. We're good. Nope. Keep going. It'll be fine. It's just water.
This is what they do. This is what these teams do for us. So I know we're going to keep it short too. One thing that we're going to be doing. So my child is really good knowledge expert on West Coast and the Kings. So it looks like the Kings might be able to clinch today. We're starting to see now the West Coast starting to clinch their spots. It's so tight. And again, this is something where I haven't been focusing on, but now we're coming down to the wire. So we kind of know where we're at. I know with your team, Sarah, it's going to be a watch to the end. It's going to come down, I think, to the final games for these. And that it's exciting. It's not my team, so it's exciting. I know it's stressful. And we're getting judgy eyes over there. Hi. And then the West Coast is its own beast. So I think we'll have Matt on, later in the week to kind of give us a rundown on West Coast teams and where they're at. And so, because I think we were on live Instagram, but we were talking about, which is interesting, is Matt was telling me, so right now the Knights are in first place. I think Oilers are in second and Kings are third, but there's only 3 points or so that separate them all. And Matt was saying that even though the Kings have won, 2 Stanley Cups, they've never won a division title. So he's like, I think that's more important, or they have, but way before my son was born is what he said. And so, so that they're kind of looking for that, and it's still within their reach if they can not lose and things can shift. So that'll be an interesting watch to the end too, so, and that's another kind of question is, we don't really focus so much on division titles. It's nice to have, but it's a nice, nice to have. Sometimes you just want to be in the playoffs and get there and get through it. So where like true fans are kind of focusing on that over here is pretty interesting.
I'm just looking at some of the upcoming games, and I have to say, and I know we've touched on this podcast before, but my conspiracy theory brain with a couple of the games that are upcoming, it's like, it is perfect. And I know we complained a lot about the scheduling at the beginning of the season, but if you look at some of who's playing who just in the next few days, it gets really interesting. So obviously today the Rangers are playing, Pittsburgh is playing Philadelphia, which for all intents and purposes, Pittsburgh should win that game. And then on Tuesday, Florida plays Buffalo, and Buffalo's just behind Pittsburgh. So there is a slight chance that Buffalo they're still alive in this.
Yeah, interesting.
And Pittsburgh plays the Devils on Tuesday, which would be a really, really interesting game. And like, one that I definitely want to watch that.
All right, so go take them out. Take someone out.
Yeah.
I'm at the point where it's going out.
It's just super interesting. And then over in the West, the Oilers have already clinched too. So that's
that's fine. I mean, it's just a matter now of points, but there's still such a tight race for the top position as well. So that'll be a good thing, and we'll get a better idea. Now Vegas and the Kings play Thursday. So
that'll be an interesting game.
Oh, it's gonna be a great game.
Not just because you got such good points, but also don't forget Quick was traded, and then he had his 1-day stint as a backup goalie, and now he's the goalie for the Knights. So, so I know a lot of Kings fans are going to go. I think Matthew's going to go to the game too. So it'll be good to get a rundown of how that game was in person too. After that, so that might be an interesting one to watch, just because, like, I think it'll be Kings fans, Kings team in Quick's new house. So that'll be fun too. So as we're kind of rooting our team and everyone's going to over-assess and over-tize the fact that we've just been sluggish. And, I think we were also talking real quick as we kind of start to close down is unpopular opinions,
Yeah. What are your unpopular opinions, whatever team or NHL related right now? What is your hot unpopular opinion, Sarah?
Oh God, I don't even know. I don't know. I don't have anything to comment there at the moment. I just think we're still in such a weird spot to watch who ends the wild card spot. And I'll be honest, I think I've owned it the last little bit, but I just don't see Pittsburgh doing it. And if they do, great. But I think there's so much work to do in that organization that it's not going to happen until they're done for the season. And that's my hope. They need to address that first to be better next season.
So we'll watch and we'll follow back up with that, because if it comes down to them not making it, which we'll kind of still root for you for now. For ourselves as we appear.
You've opened our eyes over the last 23 weeks. You have absolutely opened our eyes.
We'll do that, but let's go forward on that to kind of see what changes you think might happen. I know you kind of talked about before, but let's see what the chatter is and what happens. And maybe around the league too, as some of these teams now have been, are starting to get axed one by one each day. So as we're clinching, we're also getting axed down below on some of the other teams too. So, no, I don't think I've seen any talk of changes, but they're all going to be coming. So that'll be another little shakeup in about 2.5 weeks once, things are confirmed and settled down. So we'll follow back up with that. My unpopular opinion today is I think the Rangers are just fine. Just because they've lost, they're fine. So let everybody bitch and moan and cry and the same old on the boards. But they're fine. Let's kind of see. Again, they kind of know where their mistakes are. And what we haven't seen is them immediately correcting them from one game to another. So that's the analysis I want to kind of see today. I want to see them correcting what we saw as obvious issues and lack of shots, lack of speed, and physicality in the first period, and to kind of come out blazing like the team that they want to be. If they want to make it, these next few rounds. That's what I've always kind of said that too. I don't know what they're waiting for. So let's see it today.
My unpopular opinion, I still think Miller is a massive liability. I think he's doing giving up more turnovers than he is. He
came around in the second half of the game.
For a minute, I think I don't know. I've been saying this all season, and I'll continue to harp on it. If you guys ever get bored and you want to go on our Twitter, basically our Twitter is just me just commenting on Miller.
It's been, I have to say, I started to notice last week. I'm like, wow, she talks about him a lot, and in comparison to Zibanejad, and
it's a secret. It's a secret crush.
Yeah. Oh, I'm not. I completely agree. Yeah, it's like when you like a guy, you just have to like make fun of him a lot. It's definitely that. But he is a little bit of a liability.
Well, it's funny because he does tend to do that. Like, so the other game where he got a penalty and he kind of made a bad play, but then he kind of made amends for it. So
you were texting me. You're like, he's making amends.
He's a player that kind of, I better correct myself. And he kind of within the game itself, if he messes up in one area, he makes up for it in the game. So he's a player like that. So in a way, that could be good.
Yeah, and I get it. Like he is young and learning, and all of this is good learning experience. Just like sharpen up, go into the playoffs as just as tight as possible, and no more stupid penalties, because he's an offender of that. Him and Trocheck, dumb penalties, and Kreider every now and then.
I know. I was just gonna say, like, we've seen some Kreider penalties. We've seen Mika in the box and Panera in the box and Kreider in the box, and so those are just dumb mistakes. And and we know that we already know that this is where we've gone to as well. We're going to start seeing more penalties called, like being drawn from people. That's what was the penalties for the Penguins. Like, they were pissed. There were some shoddy things there. So, but we know that. So don't do it. Be careful.
I meant to comment this a couple weeks ago, but notice sometimes when Mika goes to the box, it's like the box of shame. Like, he sometimes just skates over with like shoulders down, and like like very sad.
And it's cute. Eyes. And like his eyelashes, and he's like, "Oh, who would ever do that to him?"
And he's really soft spoken too. When he's interviewed at the end, so he's lost. He's like, "Well," and he kind of has that face.
Yeah,
in my opinion, they should feel shame. Let's go back to like slap shot. Shame. You feel shame, then you get free. So like, use that time to think about what you've done and do like Miller. Come out and make amends. Miller's at least thinking things. He's like, God, I can't do this again. I got to go make up for it. And he kind of does. So, so let's see. It'll be interesting to see what the Capitals are going to try to draw out of the Rangers today. And then, I mean, again, we just need to stay bubbled and
bubble wrapped,
but get stronger. I think a key thing is the shots, because it's been very dismal on the shots clock the last two games. Pathetic, actually, in my opinion, and that cannot occur from this point on.
And on that note, I think the game is about to kick off. So thank you so much, ladies. Have a great week. We will be following along everything. Please join us on Instagram and
join us on Instagram.
Facebook.
We'll try to go live on intermissions, for some of these games too. So
and we'll keep you updated.
Another thing we don't know what we're doing, but we're going to do it anyway, because why not? It's fun. We learn, and it's also good. We can get some good quick opinions. So we do some quick takes on Instagram. So join us over there, and go Rangers, beat the Capitals, make them cry. That'll make me happy.
Yeah. All right. Bye, everyone. Thank you.